I recently turned 39, and when I did, I developed a crippling love for milkshakes. Thick, creamy ones that fight the straw with every sip. A refreshingly satisfying battle.
God damn, it's a pretty fucking good milkshake.
But when I make a homemade milkshake, disappointed. It's just like melted ice cream swimming in cold milk. Thin, quick to separate. But today we're fixing that. But before I share my secret formula to making great milkshakes at home, a great milkshake starts with great ice cream, and a great ice cream starts with the right base. Think of an ice cream base like a mother sauce. In and of itself is good ice cream, but then can be turned into any flavor of ice cream you can think of. And the base that we're gonna be using is one that I think is the greatest ice cream right now, Salt and Straw. Through their recipe, we're gonna learn a lot. A recipe designed and maximized for creaminess and texture and mouthfeel. So the first ingredient is a half cup of sugar. To that, 2 ingredients you might not be used to adding to your ice cream. The first is dried milk powder. What this is gonna do is add more milk solids to the ice cream without adding more liquid. It's gonna enhance the creaminess and texture. So 1 tablespoon dry, low-fat milk powder goes in. Next ingredient is also gonna be the thing that's holding you back. Xanthan gum. Without xanthan gum, you get a separated, watery, loose milkshake. Xanthan gum, however, which is a natural thing, is a stabilizer and thickener that's gonna prevent the formation of crystallization in the ice cream, as well as preventing it from sort of separating as it melts. 1/8 of a teaspoon goes in, that's all. And just a little pinch of that into a milkshake at home is gonna take it from loose and thin to one that sort of stays thick and is hard to suck up, which is what I'm looking for. Also gonna add a pinch of salt to that. Their recipe calls for it later when you're flavoring it, but it's okay to add it now. Set that off to the side. Next up, all about ingredients, right? So we're gonna use some Amish milk, right? A lot of people, you know, organic, whatever. I think Amish just covers it all. We need 1 1/4 cup of whole milk. To that milk, we're adding 2 tablespoons of light corn syrup. Another thing that reduces the formation of ice crystallization, it's gonna give it that sort of like velvety kind of consistency, again, aiding in texture and mouthfeel. We can set that aside, and since we're making a custard, we need egg yolks. 6 large egg yolks. The quickest way is just to crack them all into the bowl, and then with your hands, simply pick a yolk up, run it back and forth, get as much of that stringy egg white off as you can into another bowl. Just can get it done a lot faster. And without the shell, you know, you're like a lot less likely to crack the egg yolk. And then you're not gonna waste those egg whites, you know? You're gonna eat that for breakfast. So we've got our milk, sugar mixture, and our egg yolks, and we just need a cup of cream. And I'm gonna make the same custard as Salt and Straw, but I'm gonna use a different method. Their method, too much room for error for the home cook. So we're gonna get our milk and our corn syrup on the stove, get that mixed all together, and we wanna bring that up to temperature. And go ahead and add in our sugar mixture, and we want to dissolve all of that into the milk and bring this mixture up to about 175 degrees. Once we get there, then we can take our egg yolks and begin to temper them. I'm going to use that bowl, pull out some of that warm milk, start to slowly add it into the eggs while whisking. And the purpose of this is to gently raise the temperature of the eggs before we add all of it into the mix, preventing a scrambled egg to occur. So just checking the temperature is rising above 100. I'm gonna keep adding a little bit more milk, keep raising the temperature up. And once you've added a cup or 2 of that milk to the eggs, we can go ahead and then pour the entire egg mixture into the milk base. Get that stirred, and we just wanna bring that up to about 175 degrees again. Once we've reached that temperature, we're gonna go ahead and add in that cold cream. Get that mixed in, and we can give it a consistency check. Dip a spoon, run your finger across the back of the spoon, and if the mixture holds to the spoon, you're at a good consistency. Take it off the stove and get it strained. And all you gotta do is get a container, a strainer, just in case there's any little cooked egg bits, you're gonna just strain out that mixture. There always is some. Let this chill in the refrigerator like 6 hours to overnight, then you got your custard base. Now, like I said, you could make ice cream with this. It would be delicious, but it's just plain. For this, we're going to be adding vanilla. So what we're going to do is take about a capful, add that in. Then we need some real vanilla bean. This stuff is expensive, but every now and then when you're doing a project like this, it's worth it. All we're gonna do, use the tip of our knife and just sort of run it through. This is a dried out one. I don't love that. But then it sort of exposes the center. What we wanna do is scrape all those little vanilla beans. It shouldn't be brittle like this. but we're gonna get every last bit out because you're paying so much for it. Now, if you knew you were gonna just make vanilla, I would say throw this in with the mixture. Let these pods actually steep in the milk, and all those pods will just make their way into the mixture anyway. So then we just wanna stir it up. Beautiful. Now with our custard base now turned into a French vanilla ice cream base, now we can make our ice cream. So now we're gonna bust out my ice cream maker. This is a compression ice cream maker. All that means is that I don't have to freeze this before I make ice cream. The machine's going to do all the freezing as it goes. I think the single blade one is for the ice cream. This one's for gelato. I'm gonna pour it into the ice cream maker. It's gonna do about 30, 40 minutes. I'm just gonna set it to 59 because it looks like that's all I can do. So as you see, it starts to get cold around the edges, starting to build up frost. The paddle's shaving that frosty ice cream off the sides, incorporating it, beating air into it until it becomes ice cream. Let that go for about 30 minutes. Just gonna get the paddle out, make sure we get all that ice cream. And that's sort of what you're looking for, like a soft serve almost consistency. Incredible flavor. I'm gonna take my ice cream container, start to get it in there for its final freeze. Just gonna take a little parchment paper, place it on top, close the lid. Now we've got French vanilla ice cream. This has to go chill in the freezer. And you wanna let that really solidify and freeze, so we're gonna let it go at least 6 hours to overnight. See if we can get back to it later today. Now, while we wait for that to chill, in case you don't know, I'm back cooking on Patreon with my new cooking school, Not Another Cooking School. We do 2 new lessons every month, followed by a live stream where your teacher, myself, reviews all your homework and we try and fix any issues and get you guys to be better cooks quicker. Also gives you direct access to me to answer any culinary questions whenever you might have them. So if you want to support my work, currently, this is the new best way to do it. Link's gonna be down in the description. So it's the next day and I let the ice cream set in the fridge overnight. Now we can get to the gear and the ratio I use to make great milkshakes at home. Now one of the things is the heat from a blender that we would use at home could be a result of melting ice cream faster, and without a stabilizer, you get that kind of milky, melted ice cream texture. So to combat that, we put everything we're going to be using or touching this milkshake in the fridge to chill. The glass I'm gonna serve in it, the blender I'm gonna blend it in. Again, we've got our quality Amish milk, we've got our vanilla ice cream. It's the right consistency, it has great mouthfeel, great flavor. That's what I'm talking about. Blows away anything else you could get. So basically, here's the ratio. We're looking for 4 parts ice cream to 1 part milk. So generally think 2 cups of ice cream to a half cup of milk. You may have to adjust it slightly, but that's a good rule of thumb to follow. And now our ice cream has the stabilizers in it, the xanthan gum. However, if you might use like a Haagen-Dazs ice cream, they don't have that, right? So at that point, you're gonna need just a little bit of pinch of the xanthan gum, and that's gonna give you the same stabilizers in this ice cream that's gonna make this nice and thick. And so when you have the glass, what you can do is just eyeball it, right? I need, let's call this half. So I need to fill up milk about, let's call it about that. That's about a quarter. And then what we're gonna do is take our scoops. I'm gonna use the glass as my measuring container, not only because it's helpful, but it's also gonna give me the correct amount that I'm gonna need for this glass. About 3 scoops for this glass. Into the blender. And again, if you're using like a Haagen-Dazs, just a pinch of the xanthan gum in there, that's all you gotta do. Now we don't wanna blitz it and blend a bunch of air into it. We're just gonna do gentle. You could use just a touch more milk. See that consistency? It's thick, but it's runny. A little heavy cream. You could whip it yourself, but I got one of these. You gotta suck it up a little bit. Not too hard, not too easy though. I want some level of suction action required to drink this. It's not melting. Honestly, I'm on a diet. I wanted to take 2 sips and get out of here. It's just too good. Now, you don't often think of it as a flex to make a good milkshake at home, but it is. Whether you got kids, a girlfriend, a husband, being able to whip up something exceptional like a milkshake at home, it's gonna take you up a notch. Recipe for this is gonna be down in the description. I'll see you next time. Until then, take care of yourself. Go feed yourself.